It's now time to bring it all back. That's right. It's season 2 of Behind the Comic Book Podcast with Mr. 845 Social. Brought to you by Icon Comic Con.
Hey everybody, it's Mr. 845 here, and we are behind the comic book yet again. This is brought to you by Icon Comic Con, the Comic Con that brings independents together for all of the fandom. So that being said, I got Nick here. Nick, he's going to tell us who he is and what does he do, because this guy is a comic book writer. So Nick, let's go. Let's get into it.
What's up, man? Now, great to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Nick Edwards. I write comic books. The label that I help run, we are Unearthly Comics. We try to make some really badass comics that people like to read. You can follow us on Instagram at Unearthly Comics. You can check out our Global Comics publisher profile. That's just under Unearthly Comics. Search it on Global Comics. We've got a website, www.unearthlycomics.com. And then our book, The Apostasy, is currently live on Kickstarter, running until December 1st. So be sure to check out that out too.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the biggest thing is to make sure that you always support these independents in order to get these new stories out there. These Kickstarters are basically crowdfunded, and I mean, they are crowdfunded, and they help bring these new stories to light. So you definitely want to, kind of get into that. Especially when you're like a first-time reader, being able to read this new stuff is awesome. So that being said, I want to make sure that we kind of get into like what brought you into these different types of comic books that you're writing, and particularly the story. So tell us, let's go way back. When did this all start?
Yeah, so I mean, I've liked comics since I was a kid. My parents would take me to Half Price Books, and they would sell these like big bundles of back issues. You get like 20 random comics for like $4, and it was awesome. And I would just like get one of those each time we would go, and it was great. And that really like introduced me to a lot of like superhero comics, right? Like that's how I discovered like X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man, like Superman in Action comics, all the good stuff, all the meat and potatoes stuff. And then that was me discovering a love of comics and comic book storytelling as a kid. And then of all things, to make me want to make my own, I think it was probably actually the Captain America book, or no, not Captain America books. What am I saying? Captain Underpants. a little less serious, but like that story is so fun. But it's about like two kids making their own comics, which was so cool. And so even when I was like a little kid, I would write and draw my own characters and everything. My dad would help me staple the books together. And then just as I grew up, I realized that I couldn't really draw to save my life. That's just sadly not a skill that I have. But I knew I still wanted to make some. And then, life kind of happened. Ended up going to school for marketing and just like kind of got away from it a little bit. But then right before COVID, actually, I met a really, really awesome artist, Scott Beecher, who started Unearthly Comics, and we just clicked really, really well, and we decided to work on a story together. Now, he and I have done 2 full graphic novels together, working on some more great stuff, and I'm currently this story, The Apostasy, I'm working on with a different artist that I met a few years ago. But it's been a really great journey. But the love of comics has always been there, man.
Yeah, awesome. Hold on one second. All right, here we go. So I just want to make sure I brought the logo up.
Right. Nice. It looks good.
Yeah. So this was actually by an independent artist. His name is Chris Mad. So shout out to Chris. Thank you so every year we pick a different artist to do our logo. We had Ryan Gary Brown for the second year, because the first year I actually did my own logo. I used to do graphic design. And then the second year was Nate Melendez, and now the third year of doing the different logos is Chris Matt. So awesome. About your story and how you're basically going through it. So I want to make sure we kind of go through the actual story itself of what you can divulge, of course, because we don't want to give away the whole plot.
For sure. For this new one, for The Apostasy.
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah. So it is about it's a 48-page demonic horror comic, and it is about a demon who lives in hell, and his name is Gainsbourg, and he works as a torturer in the ninth circle of hell, which is in this world, the part of hell that the most wicked souls get sent to when they die, right? So he works scourging the souls of the damned. And this story is basically about what happens when a character like that kind of has a change of heart. And so Gainsbourg is a really interesting character. He goes on quite the journey, learns a little bit about himself, but it's also Dave Schuler, who's the guy who drew this book, man. He's awesome. He's great, and he draws just like a lot of freaky demons and creatures, and it's what attracted me to his art initially. And so the book is very gory, very violent, but I think also has like some pretty human and tender moments too.
Yeah. So now, going through the premise, like what drew you to this particular material? Like is horror something that you've never done? You've done?
Yeah. I'm a horror geek, big time. Yeah, I love it. Actually, both of the first two books that I drew, both horror books. So really, it's kind of all I've done. This is the first book about really like demons that I've done.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a huge horror geek. I love it. I love horror movies. I love horror books, horror comics, you name it. I love it.
So horror books, horror movies. What's your favorite? Like, who's your favorite character?
Oh man, that's
other than your own, you know.
No, sure. That's such a big question. I love Stephen King's my favorite horror writer. He's probably just my favorite writer, period. Some of his books that I really love are like The Stand or his Dark Tower series, Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, the classics, but some of his newer stuff too. For horror movies, that's really, really tough to pick. I guess if I were to pick like the Mount Rushmore of horror icons, you got to go with Mike, Jason, Freddy, and Leatherface as like, your four like slasher Mount Rushmore types, right? I think I was doing another interview and they asked, what's your horror Mount Rushmore? And so that was kind of my answer right there.
Nice.
You can't go wrong with the classics. Me and my girlfriend just rewatched the original John Carpenter Halloween on Halloween, which was fun. Always fun to revisit the classics, but I love it all, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, horror is something that people, though they're scared of it, right? They always find that attraction, right? Where they want to be scared, and it just gives you that rush, So it's great to hear that there's different stories that you can kind of pull from. So now take us through the book a little bit more for this. And I always throw these random stuff out there, so that's why don't mind me. But
no, you're good.
So with Apostasy, right?
The Apostasy, yeah.
The Apostasy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm trying to like sound that out. So the Apostasy,
yes.
With this book, are you taking the perspective of the demon itself, or are you?
Yeah.
So the demon's the narrator, or
he's definitely the main character. He's the protagonist. Also the audience surrogate to a degree. There's another character, so so the story really hinges on this point of like what happens when someone who like works as a torturer like this basically encounters a soul that he's been tasked with scourging that he doesn't think belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you've got this character of Gainsbourg, and then you've also got this character named Katie, who is, like a young girl. She's like a little girl who has like somehow wound up in like this darkest pit of hell. Mm-hmm. And so it really like their relationship is very key to the story. They both like learn about each other as the story goes on. So those are really our two main characters. And I kind of, the quick pitch is like Lone Wolf and Cub set in hell. So it's a very like, Joel and Ellie, Logan and Laura, like Lone Wolf and Cub kind of dynamic.
Yeah. No, I mean, those stories always kind of like usually hit like somebody's heartstrings, right? Where they're like, I want to sympathize with this character, but like they're so gruesome. Like, how can I sympathize? But I see where they're coming from, that type of thing. So, where do you draw your inspiration other than your like the horror background that you have? Where did you draw the inspiration for this book?
This book. So I met Dave Schuler, who drew it. Dave and I met at the Allentown Night Market, which is an arts festival outside of Pittsburgh, back in 2022. And Dave was a vendor at this arts festival. I was just walking around checking it out, and I was just like immediate. He had his art on display and everything, and I was just like drawn to it immediately. And it was like super dark and gruesome and weird in all like the best ways. Like I was just like, this guy rocks immediately. Excuse me. And so I just asked him about it. We just got to talking. I asked him if he wanted to collab on something. I didn't even have this story in mind, but I left that conversation going like, I want to write something that will play to this guy's strengths, that like this guy would really like to draw. And so that was just sort of the start of this story. I also think with the Gainsbourg character, the book kind of asks this question because Gainsbourg loves his job, right? He's a torturer and he like loves it and he's really good at it and it's like his favorite thing to do. But what if you got to do your favorite thing all day, every day for eternity? Like, would that maybe eventually get tiresome? Would you maybe eventually start to like lose your faith a little bit, which is kind of where the title comes into play. And so, like, yeah, he is like the most unrelatable thing imaginable, like a demon torturer in hell. But I also think the fact of like going to your job and like being tired of the grind and like, I think that's like kind of inherently relatable.
Yeah, no, I mean, who hasn't gotten to the office one day and be like, I really don't want to be here today.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, now the way I'm kind of seeing it in my mind, right, is like he's an office worker, right? He's the demon torturer coming in, and he's like, hey Bob, hey, where you going today? Torturing number 55, and then he like starts to do the torture, and he's like, there's got to be something better than this.
That's exactly what it's like. In like the first few books, he's talking so he's also union. So he's got like union hours. And he's like leaving work. He sees his like buddy coming out and they're like talking. And he's like, man, what have you been getting into lately? I've been on a big chainsaw kick. And then he's like, oh, no, I'm on needles. So he's like, oh man, what a classic. And then they're like talking like, hey, are you going to like Crowley's thing later? I was thinking about stopping by. He's like, I don't know. I got to catch up on work. So it's just like, it's meant to be this like weird juxtaposition of something that's like so insane, but then like very, very familiar.
Nice. I mean, it's kind of given like horror Office Space to me. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit, at least at the start. Start, and then we kind of leave that behind a little bit, and we go on our journey of discovery and all that, and then also there are characters that essentially want to like keep the status quo, right? And don't like that there are people that are going against the grain. So maybe you're are trying to stop these characters too. So there's, obviously some conflict, because what's a story without any conflict? And so, that's the gist of it, man.
Yeah. So now this is, so take me through like the series itself, right? Like how many books are we in now?
Oh man, so this is just the first book.
This is the first book. Okay.
So first and really only that I have planned specifically. I kind of left the story in a place where we could definitely do more, but I'm also, with a lot of things and with this, I was just really looking as far as this first book. So
now what happens if people start loving this thing and they're like, you know what, I want more.
Hey, to twist my arm, I'll do it. I mean, that's great. You do not have to convince me hard. I love to write, so I think there are plenty of places that the story could go.
Yeah, I mean, how does it feel like not necessarily that this is your first material, right? But how does it feel like launching the first book of a series or of a one-off, if you will? How does it feel about like I'm sure that it's like once you get everything done, it's like magical, right? Like finally I got this product here, right?
Yeah, no, it's cool. The first time I held like my own book in my hands, I'm sure like any creator or like writer artist can like tell you like it's a pretty awesome feeling. But yeah, I mean, like I talked about earlier, like I love all of, like the classic superhero comics, right? But it's nice being able to hold a complete story in your hands and like see everything,
Yeah.
because nobody has like every Batman comic, right? And like nobody has like every Spider-Man comic, but like just
I
when
know
you
a couple
have
people
like
that are
those
close,
small
but
self-contained stories.
yeah.
Yeah, no, me too. But I don't know, just like small self-contained stuff is
Yeah.
more my jam, I think.
So now you also wrote some graphic novels, you said, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Mhm.
are those already like one, is this book going to be like an actual book or is it going to be digital only?
Uh, Both. Really, the Kickstarter, because the book's already done. So like all of the art and everything is already fully complete. So I like it could probably be ready to be published digitally tomorrow, but I really want to wait for it to get to the hands of the backers first before I do that, just because like that wouldn't be fair. And so but yeah, so the Kickstarter is really to make money to do a print run and then ship it out.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, that's so some people that do Kickstarters, they just do digital, some people do just print, so it's nice that you're
Right.
giving them the option to do both, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially because you could take the book where you want to, and then you could keep the masterpiece that it is in full print and get it like, CGC graded or,
Oh
capture
man.
that, you know what I'm saying?
Don't slab this book. Like I'm a I get yeah, don't slab the apostasy. That's gonna be a waste of $80 or whatever CGC's charging nowadays.
I think it's like 50 or 60, but I,
Yeah.
I I'm more saying it like, so that way they can, if they ever see you at a con, they can have your signature on it. They capture that, it's a commemorable moment, right? And plus you have it on the digital. So they have the capability that they could put this on their wall. They say, this is the masterpiece that I read. And then they have the digital that they could be like, maybe they're older kids. They can read it to them good night,
Yeah.
the apostasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so with the graphic novels now, the graphic novels I want to talk about, those are currently still available. Are they out there in
Yeah.
the world? Like what do we
Yeah.
got?
Yeah. So the first one we printed back in 2022. That was my first collaboration with my buddy Scott Beecher. That was called Gatorman Kills, and that's a slasher book. Me and Scott, he's my horror buddy, man, and so we both, he really pitched me on this Gator Man character, and we wanted to make like an homage to like old school slasher movies. So that one's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Con Air is the quick pitch for that one, and
Okay.
and so it's just grimy and gross. You feel like it, like you just feel like sweaty and dirty and wet when you read it, and so it's just meant to be like a lean mean slasher story, and it's a really fun book. And then early 2024, we printed our second graphic novel, which is called Stilettos, and that's more of a contemporary thriller, which the quick pitch on that one is like Hustlers meets The Most Dangerous Game. It's
It's kind of like
I
the two gangs of New York meeting for the first time type of thing.
A little bit, a little bit. Stilettos is about a dancer who is really down on her luck. Her boyfriend kicked her out. She just found out she's pregnant. She's having a bad time. She needs some cash. She gets roped into dancing at this high-end bachelor party that's being held at this like isolated mountain estate.
Hmm.
So she goes up there with a group of other girls and then learns that, oh, these girls aren't there to dance. They are there to be hunted. And so she's got to rely on her wits and tenacity to survive. And I think it was a really great story, and it looks great. Dave, who drew the Apostasy, he's awesome too. But Scott, who drew both of these books, he's really really great as well. So this is the Apostasy is the third one I've done on Kickstarter, and it's great. The campaign, I mean, we passed our goal in 5 hours, which was really awesome.
Nice.
And yeah, so that we gotta make the book, we've gotta print it now. I'm under legal obligation to do so.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, so it's been a fun ride so far, man. I've been able to make some fun stuff.
Yeah, I know. I mean, one, when you have your fans, right, and they actively have purchased your books, or are backing a book, and they meet you at a con, let's say in person, how does that feel when you have somebody that's read your work and they're like, you don't understand. This book did this to me. Like it gave me emotions that I didn't think I had. It was great. It was a cliffhanger. Whatever have you. Like, how does it feel to have that moment?
I did have a like probably my favorite fan moment. I guess I have two. One is like somebody drew like Gatorman fan art. And I keep it on my desk or whatever.
Nice.
So like that's just crazy to see, right? Like somebody drawing like fan art of
And
like
it's
your
good art
characters.
too.
So yeah, I know it looks really really sick. So yeah, that's just like really neat. And yeah, I just keep it right here. And sometimes I'll just like look at it and be like, oh yeah, that happened. That was really cool. But then like kind of maybe like a lower scale moment, but just something that really meant a lot to me was I was doing a little signing at my favorite. I'm from the Dallas area, and so my favorite comic book store down there. If you got any Dallas fans, check out Zeus Comics on Inwood. It's an awesome store. But I was doing a signing there on Free Comic Book Day a couple years back. And this was maybe like a year or so after we'd put out Gator Man Kills. And so it was just there. I had the books, and people were like coming and checking it out. But it was pretty chill. And just this one guy was like standing there, just like flipping through it. And another guy, just like random dude, just like walked by and like saw the guy was flipping through Gator Man Kills and just said to him, he's like, "Oh, I read that. It was good." And then just like kept going. And I was just like, "Whoa, like that's cool." And again, like not a huge deal, but it just like is something that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And just like, there's somebody that I don't know who has no obligation to like say nice things about like the comics that I write, but just
Yeah.
happen to like it too. I mean, that's a great feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of culminates the whole process, right? Like you're there and you're writing this thing and you're like, who am I writing this for? And you're just like, let's say you're just writing it for yourself, you're writing it for a friend or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, somebody else got something out of this book and they enjoyed it and they want to read more. And it just I
Yeah.
feel like it puts a spotlight on you that 1 second, right? And you're like a superstar at that one moment.
Oh, a superstar is generous. But yeah. No, I mean, my whole thing is, yeah, I try to write books that I would want to read. Like a book that, like, if I saw it on the shelf, I'd be like, oh, this seems cool, or like this seems interesting. And it's really not deeper than that, which I guess is maybe a little selfish, maybe a lot selfish, but that's sort of just what's guided me so far.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, like, your inspiration for these books is primarily like this is what you would read, so that you're
Yeah.
drawing on that inspiration.
Yeah, I think so. Just kind of relying on my own sense of taste, which I like is not for everybody. It's independent horror comics, so like that is like the most niche thing in the world.
Yeah,
So like I totally get it. It's not going to be for everybody, but maybe it's for somebody, and
yeah.
that's
I,
okay.
I mean, there's a lot more horror fest coming out there in the woodwork, so I'm sure that people are
Sure.
are definitely jumping on this very quickly. I see horror fest coming out like all over the place. So I think they just had one recently in my area in Fishkill. So.
Oh, cool.
Um, So there's a lot of different things and elements going on. What do you have going in the future? Do you have anything planned yet?
Yeah, as far as like cons or other books or all of the above.
All the above.
Sure. So I'm going back to Texas and Oklahoma for a couple shows in and around January and February of next year. And then there are a few more that aren't as confirmed for later in the year, but we got a couple good ones coming up. The North Texas Card and Collectible Show, I believe, and then Taxoma Comic Con. So those will be really great. And then next year's Scott Beecher is currently he just sent me a new page today. He's currently about halfway through drawing Gatorman Returns,
Oh wow.
which is really exciting. It's going to be a super fun book. That's great. It would be with these things, they take time. I mean, both me and Scott, like this is, a side gig for us, right? We both got our big boy jobs and he's got a wife and kids. So like, these things take time, but, it would be really, really great if if we were able to have that book completed sometime next year. That is sort of the soft goal right now. But, it happens when it happens, man. And,
Yeah.
but it's cool to see it come together.
Yeah. No, I mean, being able to, have that character that somebody drew for you and now you're able to return back to it, it's going to be pretty fun. For most of the time when you have these these revisits, it just brings back all that emotion that they had from the first book. So it's definitely something that I like having different people, like as they come through different like independent comic books and stuff like that, and they read them, I read them and stuff like that. It's always fun to like revisit those characters. You're like, wait a second, oh, that character was in here, and I haven't seen them in forever, and like you're on the third, fourth installment. But now I'm sure that like you have like all these things in the works, right? And I really kind of want to more ground it a little bit right now. So if you had to draw from an inspiration, right, and you said that you like Stephen King and stuff like that. Now somebody wants to be inspired to be you, right? What type of words of engagement a future horror writer what would you give them as advice?
Ideas are really, really easy. Having a good idea, like for a story, is the easiest part of it. People always think that like when I have the idea, like that's the secret to like making a good story, and it's so not. Everybody has good ideas. I get so many people like who know that I write and stuff. They say like, "Oh, hey, I had this idea. You should make a book about this. Like, you should write a comic about this." And I want to say like that is an awesome idea. Like I hear like a lot of really good ideas, but I want to say like, why don't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So like ideas are the easy part, but actually having the discipline to like sit down, write it, craft like a coherent narrative around it with like believable characters and everything. Doesn't have to be like a realistic, like real world story. Like it can be super fantastical, but like a real believable story with real believable characters, that takes time and it's not the easiest thing in the world, and it's not even always fun. And then also too, just in the world of comics, I all the respect in the world to creators who can do both write and draw. That's incredible. As a writer who cannot draw outside of like stick figures, just understand that people will look past a subpar script to look at really, really awesome art. But nobody's gonna look past. Can I cuss on your show?
Yeah, go
Nobody's
for it.
gonna look past shitty art to read even like the best story. So like the art has to be there. That's the main attraction. That's why people read comics, is to look at awesome art. Again, as a writer, I really truly believe that your book is only ever going to be as good as the art.
Yeah. I mean, it depends, but I hear what you're saying, because some
I
books
don't know.
they don't have pictures. So and you're like, and there's
Sure.
some of your classic favorites, right? So
Sure.
I think your book without the pictures would still be good, but having the pictures, it just gives it that extra kick, right? Where you're getting, you know
I
what I'm
hope
saying?
so. Yeah, but then but if I wanted to do that, I would just write a novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say just write a novel, like that's easy. That's so intimidating to
Yeah.
me. But no, I mean, but in terms of comics though,
Yeah.
specifically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the visuals that I'm seeing. I mean the horror scenes. Like if you guys check out his Instagram, they are intense. Let me tell you, it's like some of the scenes from the book that he's showing on here. They are intense, and like you could really like feel the emotion of the horror that's coming through somebody, like the fear coming out of somebody's eyes, as I think they're either their face is melting or there's something going on with their face. But it's
Yeah,
oh,
wait
that
till
was
a
on the
few.
Gator Man Kills one. But I mean, these are pretty like intense scenes. Even the
Sure.
demons are you know what they remind me of? They remind me of there was a MTV show that used to be on Eon Flux, right?
And
Some,
Flux, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
some
yeah.
of the demons kind of remind me reminiscent of Eon Flux a little bit. And
Okay,
that's pretty
cool.
cool because now it's drawing on similarities in my mind of like what, like, it wasn't like monsters, it was like spy for the most part,
Sure, yeah.
sci-fi. But I mean, these are like, pretty intense characters that I wouldn't want to see them on a good day or a
No.
bad day.
No. And what was cool with the like a lot of these demon designs and everything is in the script. Like I gave like super minimal direction on what they should look like. I just like
Mm.
knew that Dave was good at what he's good at, and so I think literally in the script I wrote like there are three demons here, Dave, go crazy, have fun, and like just kind of let him go like design these demons and knock it out. And I when he started sending me pages, I was like, holy shit, these guys are scary. And it was like it was cool. And so like I knew like if I'm having that kind of reaction looking at this, maybe other people will too.
Yeah, I mean, people love horror. It's a strange thing, but people love horror. So, I
Yeah.
wish you guys all the luck. I'll
Thanks a
definitely put
lot.
all the links to make sure that you guys have everything right there. So that way, all you have to do is click on it and you support this independent writer and the art from the artist that has, drawn these masterful demons, if you will. You usually call like demons masterful, but but the design is.
Yeah,
Let's
totally.
but if I wanted to kind of like leave people with some final things, final thoughts, what would you kind of want to leave people about your book and like what they would want to see?
You should check out the Apostasy if you want to see a really skilled artist at work designing creatures and coming up with creative forms of horrible violence. And you should also read it if you want a story about people learning about themselves and also the dangers of being manipulated. A story that I think is pretty engaging. I think it's a fun story, but I also think it has a little bit to say as well. So check it out. Supporting independent art is never a bad thing. And again, and there's no danger that you won't get a book. Sometimes with some Kickstarters, you're rolling the dice a little bit. But the campaign, I mean, yeah, we're fully funded and we're ready to go. So you will guaranteed get a book.
Nice, awesome. I
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, it's
Thank
fully
you.
funded, right? So
Yeah, thanks a lot.
that one. We got to say congratulations.
Oh,
Where's
yeah,
the
right.
confetti?
Yeah, I know. Where is the confetti? I've been wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta get those. I gotta get those poppers. Every time somebody says that they're
right.
fully funded, I'm just gonna pop.
Yeah, there
But
you
hey,
go.
listen, I know that 2025 is out of the picture for Icon Comic Con for you, but you're always invited if you ever want to stop by, or as a vendor or as a patron. I know that you're in the New York area. That'd be great to see you there. Icon Comic Con. Hopefully, we're going to be having a date soon for 2026. But I wanted to make sure that we still stay true to what we talk about, which is how important independent artists are, and artist being a writer as well. We want to make sure that we support our independence, because without the independence, we would have never have gotten the good ones like Captain America, like in the golden age. This is our new golden age, right? So we want to make sure we support these writers and artists, because they're going to be eventually somebody else's golden age comic books, if you will, right? So we definitely want to give you support. Nick, thank you so much. We'll definitely put the links in the video. This is Behind the Comic Book Podcast, everyone. Make sure that you stop by every Monday at noon for episodes. This is season 2. We're working on some more interviews. Check it out, because we got some pretty interesting people to come on soon. All right. That being said, check you guys soon.
Peace.